You're listening to the Digital Deep Dive, where we tackle the newest trends, strategies, and pain points shaping growth across the digital landscape. From Amazon and D2C to international expansion, join our host and e-commerce leaders across multiple industries for in-depth discussions on how to maximize your brands in the digital arena. Now, here's your host, Aaron Conant.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Digital Deep Dive podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Conant, and today we're going to talk about the basics of TikTok, right? I mean, this comes up all the time in conversations I'm having. It's the rage. Everybody's talking about it, obviously, for years now. It's going to go away, and then it's not, and then it's not. Regardless, we're at a point where a lot of brands know they need to get on the platform and yet struggle with just getting the first couple steps going or knowing what to do, or there's management or somebody's holding it up. Yeah, all the above. But, Jana, you want to jump in? Like, you've been a great friend, partner, supporter of the network. You want to introduce yourself, a little bit about Blue Wheel, but then, TikTok, and we'll just kind of jump into the conversation. Your background would be great as well.
For sure. So, hi, everyone. My name is Jana Weinstein. I actually started my career on the brand side. So a good thing now about being on the agency side is I always do think like a brand. So I have years within the retail sector, worked for a ton of different fashion brands before kind of pivoting into the social commerce space. I was one of the first 50 founding members of the TikTok Shop US team. So joined there in the fall of 2022. There I was on a team called the TikTok Shop Partnerships team. Say that 5 times fast. And our job was essentially to build the ecosystem of agency experts that help brands scale. So since leaving TikTok, I kind of hopped the fence and joined the agency side, where I started building out social commerce business units within the agency space. And I have been at Blue Wheel for 10 and a half months now. But as of a few months ago, I actually lead all things creator at the agency. So I oversee our traditional influencer, our UGC capes, social commerce, and then we're also kind of looking into Amazon affiliates and what that looks like as we head into the back half of 2025.
Yeah, awesome. So let's chat TikTok. So that's what I'm hearing from brands. I'd love to hear what you're seeing as well. People don't have the $12,000, $15,000 a month to dump into it, let alone they just want to try it. And there's a huge pressure on performance marketing, all that. Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. So funny enough, I just was at TikTok last week. So they were able to kind of update us and share like a really cool amount of just stats and facts about the platform. So I think coming off of TikTok visits, I always get kind of reinvigorated about the platform and the future of the platform. But you're right. And it's funny, when I was at TikTok, we actually had 2 different business models of like how we would approach brands, right? So there were these bigger agencies that had these full service offerings, more enterprise clients within their portfolio. But I mean, you hit the nail on the head. There's a ton of brands and sellers that want to be able to join the platform, want to be able to go onto this marketplace and take advantage of like the reach that TikTok has. However, they don't have budgets, right? So we're actually kind of incubating within the agency kind of that idea and business model as well. So we do have a white glove service. We do have enterprise brands. That is the ICP of the agency that we service. But we are thinking about how do we take what we do a little bit more of a low touch model, automate things for brands, give them education. I think education and information is really what these brands and sellers need. They need kind of that guidance, that help in order to be able to onboard onto the platform, and us as the agency partner having that relationship with TikTok. I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard, Aaron, when brands try to onboard, like it can be cumbersome or they run into issues. They can't get help from anyone at the platform. They put multiple support tickets in. So I think kind of having that agency partner takes that pressure off and kind of eases the onboarding process.
Yeah, I think for brands, it's everybody is team sizes have gotten smaller and smaller, and people have been tasked with more and more. In TikTok, it sounds great, but also, like, what's the return on it at the end of the day? And it's just one more thing. So you could have the random brand where somebody's totally all in, and that's what they geek out on, and they go after it. It's their passion. It gets set up. But in most cases, people already have, 115 things to do every day. They've got time for 50. And, TikTok is one of those other 65 at that point in time. And so knowing that, also a lot of, everybody talks, right? It's like, hey, I might run into this issue. Well, if I start making a commitment to my leadership team about going on TikTok, and then I know I'm going to run into all these issues, but I don't know how to solve it, am I really going to put that down on my growth plan for the year? I don't know at this point in time. Yeah, I'd probably go all in on an Amazon, or depending on what category, maybe a marketplace strategy as a whole.
Yeah. I mean, look, there is easier forecasts and ROIs for other platforms, right? But I think when you're looking at TikTok and why join TikTok and why do a TikTok shop, you kind of have to look at it. And this is what we were talking about in the webinar that we had. I can't even remember how long ago it was. I think a couple of months ago at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. E-commerce years ago, but a couple months ago.
Right. Exactly. But I like to say there are three kind of buckets that you need to look at when having a TikTok shop and the why. The first is reach, right?
And this is really quick as we go down this. And this is as people are explaining to their executive teams or management teams about the why, right? Is why we want to go here. And it might not just be money in the pocket. It's going to be some, but it's not going to be this crazy gold mine that's just popped up. Maybe it is. I don't know. I love to hear your thoughts. But I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Virality is a thing, but I mean, the reality is, especially as the platform grows and more brands are on the platform and more affiliates join, from that side of the platform, it does get harder. You do have to invest resources and time into the platform in order to scale. And I know we've spoken about this, but like we kind of look at it with like a long-term lens, right? So we don't
work with things. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I totally interrupted you.
Yeah, no, you're totally fine. But that's how we look at the long-term vision and the long-term goals. And we want it to be, to your point, we want it to be incorporated into a marketing strategy. So when people are doing their 2026 planning, we want the TikTok plan to be within that. But the first one is reach, right? So it used to be 170 monthly active users within the US that are on the platform. It's now been increased to 200 million, right? So you have to go where your audience is. There's 200 million users that are very loyal to this platform. So from a new customer acquisition standpoint, that is the number one reason why, in my opinion. The second is that halo effect, right? So 1 in 4 users on the platform are buying within the TikTok shop app. That will change as like Gen Z and Gen Alpha grow, gain more buying power. So like that number will continue to increase. But for where we are today in the journey, it's 1 in 4. So that means that 3 in 4 users on the platform are enjoying and they're doing the discovery and loving the content, searching for brands, but then they're going to the D2C or the Amazon site to buy said product, right? So you really want to look at your halo effect and what's going on in your business on Amazon, on D2C as it relates to what's going on at TikTok. Especially for campaigns, right? I think that's a great tentpole moments. What's happening on TikTok? What does that do to your business outside of the channel? And then the third one, obviously, is just the revenue channel that TikTok provides, right? TikTok Shop, generating GMV. What does that look like? And so I think there's kind of 3 different prongs that you need to look at as to the why you should kind of lean into TikTok Shop.
Yeah, and then what is step 1? I think that's, maybe we say, we break down what's step 1, what's step 2, step 3, just for the purpose of this podcast is.
Yeah, well, I would say the organic piece is important, right? So you want to just make sure if you have a TikTok handle, even if you don't have a TikTok shop, you're posting, right? You're posting as frequently as you can, and it doesn't have to be these overly polished, high quality posts. In the beginning, just get the algorithm to recognize who you are, and then also note that it can be a 30-second video about your brand. It can be in your showroom if you're a fashion brand. It could be on a volleyball court if you're a consumables brand, or of like a protein water brand or a vitamin water brand. So there is so many different ways that you can kind of do TikTok, right? It doesn't have to be this overly thought out plan, at least in the beginning. And so I think that's where people get scared. They think, how do I do all of this content? I don't know how to do it. We're not staffed to do it internally. And that's fine. We help with that, right? There's UGC platforms. We help as the agency partner to increase that content supply. We have a creative team in-house. There's a million ways that you can slice it. But that's kind of step 1 when we're talking to brands, is just to get them comfortable to start posting on their handle.
Okay. So step 1, just start posting. Yeah, but it doesn't, Like, how often is it? Once a day? Is it twice a day?
And
Is it
TikTok
3
will
days?
tell you to post like all day, every day. But
Yeah.
we put in our decks and when we speak to clients, we say goal is 1 time per day, right?
1 time per day.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's okay, right? If you we also look at small wins, right? So we look at content, month over month. So if you were able to post 20 times and then 25, right? We consider that a win. So you don't have to go from 0 to 100 off the bat. You can start posting a few times a week, once a week even, and you can increase that frequency.
All right. Step 2. So step 1, get your TikTok handle set up and start posting, hopefully at least once a day, random content, whatever you can produce on your own, on your phone, just recording and
And
posting.
you can also take content that you already have, right? If you're a brand, you can kind of mash up something. If you have a creative shoot or if you have a shoot for Amazon, you can be creative in how you get those assets. So you can take a piece of content or something that you already have that exists and kind of slice it, dice it, and make a few posts out of it. So that's the other thing too. We always tell brands, like, look at what you have in your vault before you think it all has to be net new.
Awesome.
So
Step 2.
step 2. I would say you are going to want to lean into advertising, right? You're going to want to grow your follower count on that handle. That's just going to help with your placement in the algorithm. And the more you kind of fuel that content with paid media, the more you're going to show up on people's For You pages. So I think that's definitely important. Grow your organic presence on the platform, but you can, in tandem, build out your shop presence simultaneously, because I think it's easy to do both at the same time. It's great if we're working with a brand that already has like 77 million followers and the content is perfectly polished and they've been on the platform for years. But I don't think that should scare people who are maybe doing millions on Amazon and they just don't know how to tackle TikTok. You can do both. I mean, I would say in that instance, you may want to partner with an agency or like a UGC platform or someone that can help you. But you can definitely do both simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean, it's the content piece that wears people out at the end of the day,
Correct.
right? Just constantly and consistently putting something out. So, awesome. So find, if you can't put it out, find one of these UGC platforms. I mean, we're good friends with the team over at Coley. They do an awesome job.
Yes, I actually talked to Tom earlier this week.
Oh yeah, Tom's one of my favorite people. That guy's awesome. I got to have him back on.
It's a small industry in the best way.
But they're awesome at what they do. They really are, and they're filling that niche that people really need. Because I think that content that's on TikTok is a little bit more UGC focused rather than the absolute polished, content that a lot of brands are used to putting out. At least the larger brands are.
100%. But I think to your point then is affiliates would kind of be that next step, right? So creators are the lifeblood of the platform. So I would say then after you kind of have your handle, you got a handle on posting, you maybe put some spend behind it to gain your following, lean into affiliates because affiliates are generating between 70 and 80% of revenue for a lot of these brands on the platform.
And where are they driving the traffic to? Are they driving it to Amazon? Are they driving it to...
So it depends. You can the TikTok Shop affiliate program, obviously that's going to stay closed loop, but you can have influencer partnerships or brand ambassadors that you're working with that are going to be directing to your D2C or directing to Amazon. That is kind of a caveat. If you're going to be partnering and doing a TikTok Shop and utilizing TikTok Shop affiliates, those affiliates will be able to only do the closed loop. So they are not allowed to speak to off traffic from the platform.
Do you prefer one or the other? Is there better reporting or is it whatever?
So it's funny, TikTok and reporting. That's a funny one. Listen, it is a platform that has grown exponentially. So with that, they are breaking things. They are moving extremely quickly. So they are still working through like the analytics piece, right? I don't think we have the best data. To your point, like Halo, measuring that, it's a little bit manual right now. That's just kind of like where we are and the nature of how quickly the platform is growing. I mean, people forget that it launched GA in 2023 September, so it's 2 years old. Not even.
So crazy.
When you actually think about it like that, yeah, it's going to be 2 in September. Like that's wild. So I would say if you are going to really be measuring your affiliates within the platform, I mean, TikTok Shop is the way to go. It's really easy for brands, even if you're not partnering with an agency, to join the affiliate program. All you have to do is essentially put your product within an open plan And then any creator has the capability that is within and accepted to the TikTok Shop affiliate program can grab and then promote your product. So it's
Oh,
a nice first step for brands that are, to your point, not looking to go all in, not looking to spend thousands and thousands on agency fees. That's kind of a nice kind of foray into the building blocks of how to when it comes to TikTok enterprise.
so then you get to the point though where you need an agency. What is the agency doing that a brand wouldn't be able to do on its own? Because this platform is so new. I have a lot of people are scratching their heads saying like, what does the agency do? Are they doing the content for me? I mean, I guess they probably could, but I'd love to hear like, what is the agency stepping in? Where does that value get added? Or
Yeah,
should
well,
a
I
brand
think
just do it on their own? And is there a size or a volume that makes sense?
I think what makes kind of Blue Wheel special is we do it. We have 7 different business units, and social commerce is one of them. So we essentially can full suite everything across your D2C, Amazon, TikTok. But I think it's really important to understand what the pain points are and what the goals are of a brand. And then we can kind of tailor a package accordingly to deliver to them, right? So if we have a brand that is totally fine. They're good. They have a content creator in house and they're cool with posting, but most of the time, truly, it's the affiliate piece that kind of is like, how do I know this is a beast? How do I tackle it? So I would say the affiliate services piece is where I think a lot of the heavy lifting comes from an agency perspective because it's very advanced now because we have such a large affiliate program within TikTok Shop. It's important to build that community, right? Because they essentially are, if you think about like the 90s or the 00s, they're your salespeople, right? They are taking your product, they are speaking to their audience who's very engaged and they are selling it for you. So educating them just like you would educate a salesperson is super important. And so we've kind of moved from, and I think we spoke about this in the first webinar I did, but how it used to be kind of that huge flywheel of reach out to thousands upon thousands upon thousands of affiliates and kind of cross your fingers and see what's.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of turned into this 2-prong model where you definitely want to be doing that open plan to always just be testing and learning and seeing what works and utilizing that community for feedback. And you always get, things always surprise you. There's always that post that you are like, how did that get that many impressions? Or, oh my God, I can't believe that's what created like the top post from a GMV perspective in a day. So there's always kind of like aha and wow moments. But I think building out those creator communities, so those long-term partnerships, that brand building aspect, we utilize Discord communities for our brands. We do creator challenges to get the creators within the community excited and to want to post frequently for the brands, and they want to get like the highest GMV. So I think that is really important as well, kind of taking the 2-pronged approach of building out a targeted niche community that you can call your VIP creator community, and then also keeping that openness so that you can always test and discover new affiliate partners.
Yeah. So if I'm like a brand, then I'm probably doing as much as I can, taking it as far as I can on my own, right? I think about Amazon back in the day, the growth, you can do a lot of stuff. And then you get to a certain point where you just don't have the manpower to take it to the next level. You don't have the operational capacity. And let's be real, like brands right now aren't pouring in a ton of doing a bunch of new headcount in this space, right? If anything, they're reducing it some. And so if I'm on the brand side, I want to take this as far as I can. One reason is just I want to learn about the platform, right? I want to be able to understand the ins and outs, ask the right questions of my agency, be able to hold them accountable, but also help partner with them on direction and everything else and give them everything they need to go to take off once I get to that point. But I think that for a lot of brands right now, they can't go all in. They might just need somebody to hold their hand.
Yeah, for sure. We see that a lot, especially even with the bigger brands who do have that POC or that contact at TikTok. What they're kind of doing is taking the list that the category manager at the platform is giving them, and they're just kind of utilizing that within the outreach. They haven't even tapped the targeted outreach, the different segments you can do with like different tools like a Yuka or a Reacher. They don't have Discords. They're not building this creator community. They're not doing challenges. They're not gamifying the experience. So I actually had a call with a Blue Wheel client who utilizes us for D2C, and they have a TikTok shop. And when we were asking them what they were doing, and they were telling us, which is kind of like what I was saying, oh yeah, we're getting the lists and we're doing it. Like it's doing well, but like we don't know how to grow it. And I told them all of the things that we offer as an agency, the service of social commerce and what we do for TikTok Shop. And they were like, Oh, wow. Yeah, we do not have. Yeah, that sounds awesome. And
Oh, that makes
we
sense.
are not capable. It's one person right now who is also, to your point, managing Meta and other. She has 4 other jobs that she's doing. And so she was like, oh, yeah, that would be absolutely ideal.
That's crazy. What about, do you remember way back when it first kicked off was everybody just wanted to go viral? That was the thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then I think you were saying that was just try to kick out as much content. It was basically just a numbers game. The more you put out, the higher your chances were of something taken off. Like, do you think about that, or is it more like a methodical approach now? Where, I mean, that's kind of another thread that I'm pulling is you haven't brought up going viral as the main strategy. It's more, hey, can I find the right people in my target demographic that can be a micro influencer and an affiliate and drive traffic? Is
I
everything
mean,
shifted? Like that's the strategy?
well, I think when the brands that went viral, quote unquote, they were also on the platform when there wasn't a ton of brand saturation, right? So there was a lot of perks, there was a lot of incentives that TikTok was providing. The space wasn't as competitive. So these early adopter brands really got to get their feet wet and kind of scale before there was that like extreme competition on the platform. There are brands because there are products that go extremely viral that still happens. But what I like to kind of teach our brands is that is the exception, not the norm. And so there is validity in investing in this channel, but it can't be with the hopes to go viral. Because we also want to make sure it's our job as the agency partner to keep them profitable and to hit their goals. And in full transparency, a lot of these brands that went viral early on, like they were really leaning into the platform and it paid off. And it paid off with the halo effect, but they were not profitable in the beginning at all. And secondly, the platform has changed. So there was a time when you could get a lot of traffic push and kind of go viral a little bit more easily, strictly from an organic standpoint. As with every platform, there is an element of pay to play now. So if you are going to be leaning into your organic presence and you don't want to put any paid spend, if you don't want to amplify that content with paid media, it's not going to get that traffic. It's not going to be in front of viewers and you're not going to be able to scale the way that you want to.
Yeah. Actually, I love the new route, of having a methodology behind it, not just a hope and a prayer.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Our team motto is
Yeah.
still optimize and iterate. And
Yeah.
I think that's what's so fun about the platform. I know, especially when I talk to like our Amazon side of the house, they're like, how do you work like this? And I'm very used to it. I worked for TikTok. I think it's really exciting for me. I think it's really fun and exciting to see things consistently change and evolve. Takes a certain type of person, right,
Yeah.
to do this role, but I find it incredibly exciting. And I think just taking a minute to sit back and be like, oh my God, this platform is only 2, and like look how far it's come. It makes me really excited for the next, the next 2.
Coming out of like you said you were able to chat with TikTok. Like, are you just pumped? Like more pumped about where the platform's going? I
Yeah,
mean,
they're doing some really cool things with AI that are coming down the pipe. They're doing some really neat things as far as I think one of the big gripes for TikTok and TikTok Shop in general is customer data. So they're really kind of coming to the forefront finally and really leveraging AI across every piece of the org. So GMV Max is already kind of their AI version of paid media. I think having more first party market data is going to be a game changer for brands that want to utilize the platform. They have an AI creative solution, which like outside of UGC and a partner like Coley, you could also do AI creatives within the platform. So I think the way that they're approaching AI, they're doing it in a really smart and strategic way. And I think it's only going to help the platform scale and optimize performance.
yeah, I mean, anytime you can give data. Now, I think for the longest time, the data that was provided by any of these platforms was cool, but we just took all of that and put it into our data lake and then our data ocean, right? And then it just kind of sat there like, hey, look at all the data we have. And now, it's come around that everybody's realizing that it's that data that powers any of these AI platforms that are out there that are getting put in front of us on a routine basis. That data just has to be clean, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be accurate. And so That's awesome. If they're going to be able to share data and brands are going to be able to use it and optimize for it, man, it's going to be massive.
It's coming down the pipe, but from what I saw, the way that they're kind of taking AI and making it work for the platform and how it will help brands, I think will be a game changer.
Yeah.
Super exciting.
Awesome. I've been picking your brain for a while. Any questions for me?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to know. We kind of talked about this before we went live, but I guess from a brand perspective, because I know you talk to brands day in, day out, what is the latest that you're hearing on brands either wanting or not wanting to do TikTok? What are their biggest blockers? And anything, I guess, has the ban cooled down? I think that kind of chatter, is that still kind of present when you have these conversations?
I think everybody's frustrated with Amazon right now. They just are. I think everybody's been frustrated with Amazon forever. But
it happens when you're the big guy.
Yeah. And so they're looking for alternatives. I think at the same time, people are finally coming. I shouldn't say it, the organizations, not individual people. Anybody in e-commerce has seen this for a while, but organizations are coming around to the fact that it is that their shoppers are everywhere at this point in time. They are still spending time on Meta. They're on TikTok. They're on Amazon. They're on Chat GPT or Perplexity or whatever it is. The shoppers are like everywhere. And because of that, like TikTok, like you said, with 200 million?
200 million monthly active users.
You have to be there. Yeah. You absolutely have to be there. And they were hoping I think a lot of brands were hoping it would just go away and they wouldn't have to worry about it. Right?
That's the Gen Z play.
Yeah. And they're hoping it was just going to go away. That's just the reality, right? Like, yeah, the internet's a fad.
Yeah.
But I think anybody that looked at the adoption rate knew that TikTok wasn't going to go away. And so, again, it's part of the reason why I wanted to connect for this one is everybody just wants to know. I mean, you have the smaller ones that have gotten in and it's taken off and it's done great. But a lot of that mid-size and the enterprise, they need to know step one. They want to know, hey, how far am I behind everybody else? How can I catch up? How do I have the right conversation? By the way, I don't have the time to do it. Yeah. And I could do it if somebody could hold my hand. Right, which is kind of why I wanted to do that step 1, 2, 3. I think maybe we got to 5 steps was, I believe that the brand should as a whole try to do this on their own to the point where they can't anymore. Or like in this case, like hire an agency that's not going to do, that's going to have a lower price point that can help guide them just to eliminate the roadblocks or making any mistakes that could be costly later on down the line. A $3,000 to $5,000 investment a month is the pretty good investment if it's going to set you up for success later on. But that's where brands are at right now is they can't afford to mess up, and they know that, and they can't afford to not be on the platform. So how do we do it in the most efficient way possible? So that was, I don't know, a bunch of cobbled together.
Oh yeah, I hope so. Cause I even see like we're in like every single channel on like the TikTok kind of platform. And there's so many sellers that are like, help, or like this happened to me, or like my shop got taken down, or I have this violation and no one will help me. And so I think that I do think is why it's beneficial to kind of lean on whether it's a platform or a partner, because that is our job, right? To be the experts, to keep up on all of the reading, to know all of the changes that happen within the cell. We'll sign on a Monday and like an entire UX of a seller center screen will be different. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah. I really believe that if I'm looking forward and I'm on the brand side, I am hiring an agency right now. I see this as where Amazon was at for brands, I would say in like 2011, 2012. So not like early on, like, early 2000s, late 90s. But once it really got cooking and people started to notice it, that's where I put it as like, now is the time that you can have inordinate gains on the platform because you're one of the earliest ones to invest. And look at that from a standpoint. If I'm a brand, instead of hiring another person, I'm keeping my current person and putting those dollars towards an agency to help drive that growth. Like, I mean, that's what brands did that really won back in the day on Amazon, right? It was, I'm going to find some experts that are going to help me for literally peanuts at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I have been approached by brands and I'm obviously happy in my role. But the thing that I always question when I have these conversations is, so you're hiring for one role? Yes. Okay. So who do you have doing affiliate? Who do you have doing paid? Who is doing your operations? Who? And then like I get the same blank expression every time. Well, that person will. Okay. Well, that's problem. That's problem number one.
Yes. Yeah.
That's problem number one. So
I mean, if you have 5 products,
brand, I'm like, you either have to hire an in-house team, or even if you hire an in-house person, you have to partner with experts that can execute.
Isn't that so funny though? It happens over and over again. They went through that with Amazon and then on the Walmart side, right? And now it's TikTok. You'd think like you'd learn at some point in time, this isn't just one person that's going to be able to do everything and work wonders. I have seen brands start to hire like an intermediary that is a part-time, like I would say it's almost an advisor role.
Consultant or
that sits between the brand and the
for this like lower touch package was like being that having weekly hours.
Yep.
We can essentially
beautiful. I love it.
Sending newsletter. I mean, granted, like this is still, this is in the making. This idea literally came up in a meeting on Tuesday. And it's only Wednesday. So, but it's definitely something that we want to tackle and quickly, because I think it's definitely, we get brands all the time that approach the deal. And unfortunately we have to say, now is not the time for us to work together, but this was it was spun out of that conversation of how do we help all these brands that are out.
Because they're not ready to spend $10,000 a month. It's not happening, especially in this macroeconomic environment right now. It is not happening.
No.
But if you can prove the platform for a low cost, people will be in.
Well, I think that's how we've been able to be successful. And like I said, like I've got friends that are in the same role within the agency space and we talk all day, right? I had a call with one of my friends who runs a different social commerce program. She's based out of Seattle and we had a chat just talking about what's working, what's not working. And I think like that's important too, right? You're getting this insider intel like on and you're helping each other kind of like figure out the platform as you go. And I think for these smaller brands, I think, yes, I encourage everyone to try and do it on their own. But I think that's where a lot of people get frustrated and walk away. And I think it's such a shame because there's so much cool stuff. And when we do we to our clients and, weekly recaps, monthly decks, and we tell a story, right? And it may not just be, it's not strictly GMV. We talk about the growth across like all levers of the platform, from impressions, number of affiliates, paid performance, ROI. Like there's so many cool metrics and so many things that you can tell a story towards new customers, right? All the things that I was talking about in the beginning of this podcast. I think it's super exciting. I geek out on it. But I think that's why our brands are super happy, is because like they're kind of learning with us. And it's really cool. It's our job to kind of, to your point, like how do you get these leadership teams and these big companies? Like it's our job to kind of like sell them the story of the why you should do TikTok. So I think it's super exciting.
It is super exciting. And well, I mean, we reached time here, but Jana, thanks so much. This is always fun catching up.
Always good to chat.
Yeah, I know. And super fun. And I mean, we'll have you back on again, probably like 50 times over the next 10 years.
Love it.
As this thing keeps rolling. But with that, we're going to wrap up this episode of the Digital Deep Dive. Thanks, everybody, for listening in.
Thank you.